Hi, guys. I am so apologetic. Hi, everyone. I am just apologetic of the fact that we may have made a little error here as far as um, the time. So I hope that you're hanging in there with me. I hope you can hear me. And I do want and hope that you still are going to be right now for this workshop or this little webinar that we're doing right now. And thank you for making those comments. I mean, Argel and Klaus and Maria Valdez and so, anyways, I'm just I was reading your comments, waiting for the time to begin, thinking that I was supposed to start at 12 o'clock my time, which is in Central Time, which would have been 1 o'clock, of course, Eastern Time. And we typically post, like 1 o'clock Eastern Time. At least I thought, or 12 o'clock. I wish we post, I guess. I'm a little confused about that, so I apologize. So, anyways, my bad. I'll make sure this never happens again. Okay. So, thank you for being here today, and let's go ahead and just chat. Meanwhile, until maybe some of you are going to actually come in and log on right on the hour, which may be true. And if that's the case, I don't want to get too much into the content of things, but I certainly do want to be here for you at all times to answer your questions and to be able to help you move along with your success using the Silva techniques. First of all, I do want to ask for those of you who are already on me, because if you're just seeing my mouth move, that's not going to do very just all any good, is it? So if you can hear me, please just type yes, I can hear you, everything's okay, and I'll take a look and see that everything's working well. If you can hear me working this before we actually get started, and I would really appreciate that you let me know. Okay. I think that before we actually get into the course material or the webinar content, appreciated. Um, uh, do you have any questions for me? I mean, things that we can talk here on the side with those of you who are already here and participating. Do you have anything that you really want to know about the Silva method, about me, about a technique, about how to make it more effective or successful, about anything? I mean, right now, we're working on a variety of things, and I just finished doing an email for a new little program that we have in a weight loss program or a weight management program. And I was just, while I was writing the email, I was thinking about how so many times this one little shift that we make in ourselves, when we have that tipping point experience, can really have a domino effect on everything else you do in life and upgrade everything that you do in life. And we're talking about three things living experience. I'm going to keep it really simple, but I want us to really start thinking about what are some of those things, because often just one shift is going to make a big difference in everything else that you do. So, uh, and thinking about what in the email that's going to be going out probably on Friday, I think it is. I really started thinking about the different times in my own personal life and living experience that I've had those remarkable shifts where I really feel like something makes me. Every time when I started to reduce, I gained 80 pounds. I was weighing over 215 pounds. And mind you, the baby did not weigh 30 pounds or anything like that. I mean, she was a very healthy 10-pound baby, but nevertheless, I was still weighing 195 pounds after I gave birth to her. And I was just got to the point that I was so disgusted with me, with my body, with my look, with what I had allowed myself to do and how I had allowed my body to get so out of condition that it really just knocked the socks out of me. And the more that disgust basically grew within me, knowing well that I could shift and turn my life around if today I started to make a change for the better. And it didn't have to be huge changes, but it could just really be determined to make that change, to make sure that I would do whatever I could in my part to reduce, even if it was 1 or 2 pounds a month. It didn't matter, but just moving always daily in the right direction. Of course, once I made up my mind, and having made up my mind in that way, because it was, I just was so ready. I was at that tipping point. Then making that shift internally really, made me more aware of what I was eating, how I was moving, how much or how little I was moving, how to add more movement to my life and less caloric intakes into my nutrition, and little by little making little adjustments to eat healthier, tasty, yes, but a little bit healthier all the time. And as all these little changes begin to take place, so many other things begin to happen. My self-esteem got better, my body got more toned, my energy level got better, I start to sleep even better, I felt more attractive, finally thought start to feel good about myself. I got a new hairdo, I got a new look, I started to be able to buy new clothing. I mean, just one thing after another started to happen. I went back to taking courses in school. I was enjoying my children more and playing with them, and going running after them, and I had more energy. And so, one little decision that in science they call that a keystone habit. When you make a shift in one particular aspect or area of your life, so many other things begin to shift, and everything begins to get upgraded. As you make that one shift. So I just want to think about that. I know I asked you to think about a few other things as well, but I also want to. What are some of the you focus some of your time at when you say, gosh, only because I'm lazy, or because I lack knowledge, or because I have a belief that says I can't make change happens at my age or with my health condition, or be whatever it may, whatever excuses we're making for ourselves to stay comfortably in where we are right now, and not to want to make a push to to make ourselves better. Whatever excuses they are, start thinking about those areas where you think, gee, I could really turn my life around right now. I could really make a wonderful life for myself if I only made this shift right now. And I'm not wanting you to make a shift all across the board in so many different areas of your life. I'm just asking you, pick one of the things that you finally say, you know what, I'm fed up in being this way right now. And I know that if I could just simply focus my attention on one thing, so many other things can get upgraded by making that shift. And for me, it was weight, because once I decided to reduce weight, then I knew I had to move more. So I started to walk, and then the walking became like light jogging, and the jogging short distances became longer and longer all the time. And then by the time you knew it, I could do marathon runs. I was jogging 50 plus miles a week, and went on and on and on. I don't no longer run 50 miles a week. I probably run now like maybe half that. I probably do like 20 to 25 miles a week, and I probably run, they say, 4 to 5 miles, maybe maybe 5 days out of the week. But I still do that, and then I also alternate. I don't just do jogging; I do other things as well. I do exercise, resistance work, power walks, things like that. But at any rate, but that one decision, because I was so fed up with my body, with my looks, with being disgusted with myself, and I was only that way because I didn't make a shift in how I was eating or how much I was moving. So simple. I mean, just nothing to it. But I was lazy, or I felt overwhelmed, or I was slightly depressed, or I had, just that postpartum depression, whatever the reasons or excuses are. Once I got past that, and I dedicated myself to making that change, everything changed in my life. Okay, guys. So thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. I do apologize. I apologize wholeheartedly for the error as far as the time factor was concerned. I promise it won't happen again. Okay. And I'm like, you're like, I think who was it? Was it Klaus? Is it Laura's always on time, or Maria? One of you said, no, Laura's she's always on time. Anyways, and so I really appreciate your trust and your faith in me. And I tend to be really always on time, and I like to be on time. I pride myself in being on time. So for those of you who are coming in right now and join up, I was just kind of like Like I just wanted to make sure that I wanted to let you know that I was here waiting for it to be 12 noon my time, which would have been 1 Eastern time. So, anyways, here we are. Okay. Now, I asked you, and welcome, okay? I asked you before coming on to do a few things. And one of those things was to think about what you believe your life purpose was. And I say that because before this webinar started, I already had questions here. I had one by LJ Collazo, and LJ says that there's 3 things that you need to upgrade your life. And he said the first one would be to make sure that we start at the right place. In the Silva Manifesting and Intuition programs, there's an exercise to help one find one's life's purpose. And are there any other techniques that would be used to discover and or explore one's purpose in life? So, and I'm thinking yes. At the same time, then Michael came in and said that I would be happy to share one thing or exercise to help one find life's purpose. So it's come up already more than once. And so I really do want to make sure that we satisfy those and quite frankly, you're right. If you're going to look towards upgrading your life in any way, it really does help when you have a sense of what your life purpose is. Now, one of the things I've always talked about, but I've never actually done with you, was to or is to what is your hierarchy or what matters most to you. So I think, if you've been writing some information down, getting ready for this little webinar, then maybe you have a piece of paper and pencil right in front of you or something to write with, and you may want to start jogging or jotting down what you believe is the most important or thing or relationship that is the most important to you. Now, I say a thing, it could be a thing, it could be a practice, it could be a service, it could be a relationship. When I wrote my list down, I tended to look at it from a bigger picture. And I looked at it from like, well, what's really important in my life in general? And when I started to really chew on that particular question, I started to really chip away at all the things that I thought were important, like, oh, happy marriage or wonderful relationships. And yes, those are important to me, but it was even greater than that for me. So then I said, okay, if it wasn't going to be a happy marriage or wonderful relationships, then what else? My health? Well, okay, yes. But then what's even greater than that? And I kept asking myself, well, gee, what about if I had my health and I had the happy marriage and then I also had, great, wonderful relationships? What would be more important? Well, to be happy? Well, yeah, of course, we all want to be happy. And I kept asking myself over and over and over until I got to an answer that I could not go past. I mean, that was the ultimate answer for me. So I want you to ask yourself over and over, what is the most important thing to you in life? What is the most important? And when you get that answer, then say, okay, let's say I already had that. What would be even more important than that? And then when you get that answer, say, okay, let's say I already had that. Let's say I already had those 2 things. Then what else would be even more important than that? I hope you follow me or you're following me, because that's really how you get down to the real nitty gritty as to what's really important for you and what are aiming for your life purposes. Oh, thanks, Ed. You say I look great. So I always thought you were much younger. Yeah, me too. I always feel younger. You know, you always feel younger than what you really are. So yeah, me too. I feel like a lot younger than what my age is. I guess I should say. But anyways, going back to the question here. Start asking those questions right now. I want you to start asking yourself, and I want to do this together as an exercise so that we can all benefit from it. So just get anything or write on your computer. You can always write it on a Word document or a Pages document, these things that I'm asking you to do. So when you keep asking the question over and over, okay, yes, great, relationships are important, health is important, happiness is important, but what else is more important than that to me? You're going to get to an ultimate answer that really resonates and vibrates with you deeply. Okay, so I'm going to give you 1 minute to do that. Just 1 minute. This watch is not working, but over here we are. And I have a timer here. 1 minute to do that so that you can come up with those answers. And you probably already know. I mean, you might already know. So let's see. 1 minute. All right. Got a timer going. So keep asking the question. If this, okay, let's say I did have all the money in the world and all the happiness and all the health and wonderful relationships and all these great things, what else would be more important than that? What else? And come to the answer that is the ultimate answer for you. All right. And if you want to write it down on the comments box, let me know. I'd love to hear what you come up with. I would love to read what you come up with. 15 seconds more. Now you can do this on your own as well. You don't have to have me here to do this for you. And you may need more time than just that 1 minute, obviously. Now, okay, good. All right. Now, the reason I want you to ask that question is because I will tell you, for me, the number one thing is going to be God. Now we all have a different opinion or definition as to what God may be. But for me, it's that energy, and I know you've heard me say this, probably some of you have, um, on, on various occasions. For me, it's that energy that responds to your thoughts, intentions, emotions, feelings, images, and it's that field around you from where all things come. We talked about this before. We talked about how at the very core of all existence in the universe, there's that energy that science knows is there, but can't photograph it, can't measure it, but it's that energy that seems to be in everything, at the core of everything, and gives rise to everything. And that energy has a cohesive mechanism that draws into place like subatomic particles. And they theorize, of course, about how subatomic particles work and how they come together, and that energy pulls these subatomic particles in a way where then they form atoms. And we know that there's a certain number of atoms that exist in all existence throughout the universe. And atoms also have a way of pulling matter together to form molecules. And so then we're able to identify molecules. We can detect and observe molecules. We can detect and observe the movement of atoms. But there comes a point where even at the subatomic and energetic level, that those levels are invisible to us. We can't detect them. We can't measure them. We can't see them. We can't hear them, taste them, touch them, or smell them. So those levels belong to the intangible, invisible world, the spiritual world, the spiritual dimension, the non-physical dimension, as we know how to define physics. So once we know that, we also recognize that at some point the spiritual becomes physical. There is a transformation, or there is a way where it moves into physical manifestation. From being spiritual, invisible, intangible, they become, that energy takes form and shape and now becomes more tangible in all forms. And molecules have a way of pulling together and forming cells. And at that point in time, we have life that reproduces itself, basically. And we say, okay, that's maybe the beginning of one cell animals, but that is definitely the beginning of plant life. And plant life also has what we call at the cellular level primary intelligence that's been proven and shown with Cleve Bacter's work back in the 70s, I believe, where plants seem to respond to certain happenings in the environment. Now, cells have a way of coming together depending on, of course, the conditions that they're in. And of course, they're going to give rise to many different organs and systems and then bodies. So we have animal life come into play. And then we have biological intelligence like most animals have. And then we have human intelligence, whereas human intelligence has mind, and mind allows intelligence to be able to move through dimensions or time freely without any barriers or blocks. And that's in a nutshell. I know it's a lot of content in a nutshell, but that's why for me, it's so important to have a good, not good, but really a great relationship with that one thing that I value most, from where all things come. And that's that energy that many of us come to know as maybe universal source energy, because it's one source of energy from where all things come, or from a more religious or context, more known as God. So call it however you want, call it universal source energy, or God, doesn't matter to me. To me, it represents the same thing. Now, this is my own personal concepts, and you know that I often share that with you. And I hope this doesn't offend anybody. I don't see why it doesn't. But for me, that's the most important. Now, if you have your number one most important anything that's for you in life, then going to be of great value for you to discover your life purpose. Now, someone shared with them, yes, financial freedom for my wife and children. I can totally understand that. We all want our loved ones to be comfortable, to be secure, and to have that security. So when you have an idea, or also loving to learn, loving to grow and experience. So that's also very important. We seek to have as very important, but is that of utmost importance? And if it is, good. So the reason I say that is, once you're able to define what's of utmost importance to you, more than anything else in the world, then you're able then to discover what it takes from you to keep true to that relationship, or to making sure that that happens. So in the case where you say, someone says, I love to learn, that's the most important thing to me. If that was the most important thing to you, then you're going to go maybe buy a bunch of books, go to school. You might become a lifetime student in academia, or you might just become a lifetime learner, which we all are anyways. But you might put a lot more emphasis in taking courses, in reading books, and subscribing to maybe lessons, buying audios, going to adult learning. You might take courses and all kinds of other things, because that's what you want to do. You want to learn, and you are going to do everything within your power to be able to satisfy that, true to that number one thing that you value most in life, as far as what really defines your life and living experience. So how would that then translate to your passion? So your passion can then be learning. And when it comes to learning, would that be in part sharing those gifts of that, the gifts that you're learning, the information that you're learning? Could there be a way where you then can then help others to learn, teaching others to become better in their own way by what they know how to do? I mean, you've got to kind of look into that. They say financial freedom for my wife and children. Okay, fine. If that's the situation, then you're going to do everything to maybe work a little bit harder, or maybe work a little bit smarter, or to improve your skill, to be able to earn more monies, to have more capabilities, greater and greater skill sets through time. That's involved, obviously, also learning and continuing to learn to be better at what you do, because you want to bring more finances into the home, to be able to have your accounts in order, to be able to put money away in the bank, to make your money grow, to invest it wisely, to know more about monies and how to invest your monies more wisely. Do we kind of get the drift here? For me, as I mentioned to you, the most important thing for me was to be able to, or is God. And so by God, important that I need to, or do good things. I need to do good things. I need to help people. I need to solve problems. I mean, that's how I see it. I need to solve problems, not create problems. I need to be consistently and good in everything that I do, and how I carry myself, what I say. I mean, just everything across the board. Because to me, that wonderful energy from where all things comes responds to positivity, to goodness, as it does to negative things as well. It does not discern. So depending on what I want to bring to my living experience, I'm going to focus on that, because that energy, I believe, it does not discriminate. It gives you everything you want. If I'm focused around doing wrong things, bad things, negative things, and ugly things to people, then I'm going to get more of that in my life and living experience. I don't want that. this is a very powerful energy, God is. And so for me, because it's a very powerful energy, what I do is I that energy just by thinking positively, doing positive things, help. I want to let people in positive ways, being things, good side of reaching out my, a helpful hand, you know, whatever, being relevant, all these good things. So how best then am I able to do this? Yes, I can go out and go to the old folks' homes or go to food banks and help out. Of course, I can do that. I can help be there for my family, my friends. Of course, I can do that. But one of the best things or best ways I also know how to do that is in doing, or like webinars, or by presenting seminars and courses, writing new material, doing the work for you to help, give tools, techniques, and concepts that empower people to upgrade and better their lives and live an experience. And so I've made it a living to do this. Now, this thing that we're doing right now, which is called a hierarchy. I learned it, like say 30 some years ago, probably 35 years ago, when I took a 2-week certification process with Robbins Research and Tony Robbins. And so I was doing this 2-week certification training. And we know that's when you used to have to walk on fire on the hot coals and jump off the tall pole and jump off airplanes, or just spend the night out with a quarter and an apple, all those kinds of things that I felt kind of did help me to break through a lot of limiting barriers that I had put up for myself. But the one thing that I remember, and I took out of that, maybe in a more deeper, richer way than a lot of other people might have, was this practice, because I was really able to put it into me. And I thought, wow, gee, what is really my relationship with universal energy, from where all things come? Because if I'm good and I radiate this goodness and I vibrate good, energy and good vibrations, then this energy will give that back to me in that way as well. And I need to make sure I'm doing genuinely good things at all times. And that's what I focused on. And where then I was able to discover my passion. And values are always tied into what you're passionate about. So if you're passionate about finding financial freedom for let's say your family, then you're going to be looking for ways to achieving that. And you're going to always strive to having your finances in order, building your finances, investing them well, making a plan for the future, making sure that your will is in place, that everything's really clearly stated, that that you've got your insurance is okay, that you've got your investments okay, that the day should you move on and your wife and family stay behind, that they have nothing to worry about because they're secure and they're taken care of and everything is in order, everything is scripted out, and they're very organized. And so that becomes a real passion. And I think it's a wonderful passion to have. Now, once you know what's the most important thing to you, then your values show up and say, like for me, my values that define me are that I'm there to serve people, to solve problems, and to do good things. And those three things are translated in the kind of work that I have chosen to do in my life. And and I have to say, I mean, doing Silva seminars at a very young age wasn't always, I thought, be a passion for me, more than something that I grew up with. I knew well and was around me. But as time passed, I really began to think that it was something I chose to do from even before being born. It sounds kind of odd, but I know you understand these things. I really feel like, I was meant to be born to the family. I was meant to be born into and have the life experiences that I had, the good, the bad, and the ugly, because it really helped to form who I am now and give me really start to form my character and how to apply that in other areas of my life, and help other people benefit as well. So, all that being said, then once you've got the first thing that's most important to you, that's ultimate, there's nothing greater than that for you in your life, then that comes with values that support it. And then those values then and that one thing that's the greatest thing for you in life really help you then to more clearly see what your purpose in life is. Does that help you? I want to make sure that it does help you because it's really important to know. You can always write into the little slots there. Let me hear from you because I want to hear from you. And so far, only is beginning to comment, and of course, Argel or Argel Lobo is there as well. So I want to hear from you so that I can, be there to help you along the way or assist you or facilitate things for you. Okay. Once I had the first one, it was a lot easier then to think, oh, okay, then what's the next most important thing for me? And the next most important thing for me, and I'm looking more at a big chunk thing, not small little chunks, but the big picture was to be then was me. So it was God and then myself came after that. And it might sound selfish to put me next, but I think it's more selfless and actually because, in becoming, in putting myself next, what that meant to me was that I was going to be the best me I could possibly be through time in order to satisfy my relationship or my greatest value, which is that one with universal source energy. And and the only way I could do the kind of work and the kind of actions that would satisfy my relationship with what I valued most in life was being healthy environment in every way, in spirit, mind, body, and emotions. So if I could be that person who was healthy in every way, I could better serve people. I could solve problems more effectively. I would then be, of greater value and be more relevant to others. I mean, I would be that example. I would be that the mentor, the teacher, the guide. It would be easier for me to do that if I was healthy in spirit, mind, body, and emotions. And so there was my journey then. How do I become healthy in spirit? Again, it ties back to my number one value, of course: do good, be good, serve people, whatever, solve problems. In emotions, how do I become healthier in emotions? Well, then I would look at what are the things that cause fear and anger in me. How do I resolve that? How do I resolve old wounds and rise above them? How do I break through limiting beliefs that are holding me back? How do I move forward? All these things that we've talked about. How do I become better intellectually? Well, I can continue to study. I continue to research. I continue to take courses and read books. I continue to, do all the things. Put what I teach into practice to make sure that it's ongoing all my life. I'm a lifetime learner, and that's very important to me. How do I do that physically? Well, I make sure that I'm at my healthiest. I eat right. I sleep right. I exercise. I have good quality thoughts and that support me in everything that I do. I'm really focusing on all the things that I believe I need to do in order to be healthy across the board. Because when I'm in my top shape, when I'm in my optimal health, then I could do the work, God's work, basically, if you want to put it that way, or the work that I value so much in keeping my relationship with universal source energy. I could do it that much better. And then after that, used to come my children, but when they were younger. But now our children are 32, 33, and 40. So they're fine. So now it's my husband. It used to be me, children, husband, and now it's me, husband, children. My husband was always very valuable to me, but since we had minors to take care of that we chose to bring into this world, then obviously they needed our attention and our care. I say our only because my husband and I had this conversation way back 30 years back, and I shared with him what was my hierarchy of what I valued most in life, and he wrote what was his hierarchy, and they were very, very similar. And we made a conscious decision to make our hierarchies match so that we were working the same thing, with a very similar purpose in life, or life purpose. Okay. So then comes a husband, and I'll do anything and everything for my husband. I will always, do my best to make him happy, to pay attention to his needs, to make sure that he's having a wonderful relationship with me, that he's happily married, that I satisfy, whatever it is that needs to get satisfied, and so that I'm always there for him in all ways. And so he's got my back, he's strongest supporter. I remember years back when he was ill. Some of you may know that he has a slow heart, and so he has a pacemaker, and discovered that about 13 years ago. And then anyway, one time he was in the hospital, and we were at the hospital, and of course I would always tend to him because he's very healthy, very, very healthy. He's always exercised and he's always eaten well, but he happens to have a slow heart. And so while we were in the hospital during that time, I remember the nurse, every time she would finish her round and bring in another nurse to care for my husband, she would introduce us as the Silva Quesadas. They're each other's greatest fan. And she turn around and walk away. Low maintenance. They're each other's greatest fans. And I always think about that because it's true. I'm his greatest fan, but you know what? He's my greatest fan. And, we really have each other's back in so many ways, in every way. So then after that being said, then of course come my children or our children, because we want to make sure that we're always aware of their needs, that we're there as their mentors and guides, that we're there to support them in every way, and that we encourage them, to live a wholesome, happy, healthy life in every way. And I'm really proud to say that we're very proud of our children, and they truly are living their life purpose, and they are doing it with great joy. And of course, then after that, it's family, and you're part of the rest of my family. They include my siblings and my cousins and aunts and uncles and extended family members. You're part of that. I often tell you about the statement that we have at the end of exercises in the Silva method that said, you will continue to take part in constructive and creative activities to make this a better world to live in, so that when you move on, you will have left behind a better world for those who follow. You will consider the whole of humanity, depending on their ages, as fathers or mothers, brothers or sisters, sons or daughters. That to me always stood out. And I grew up with that statement. I grew up with that program, basically, that we're all part of one big family, and that's undeniable. We all come from that one source that has become all different manifestations that you see throughout the universe. And we're very closely related, and you're my family. So I just want to share that. So you're part in that, in that, how to, in that level of family. And for me, it's important that I'm there for you, and that I help you to become happier in every way, more fulfilled, and that you reach your goals, in the way that I know how to help, the way that I know how to contribute to that. And that's in the content, the information, maybe the understanding, the tools and techniques, all these different things. And I'm here for you in that way. That's why I like to do these free webinars and continue to do products and offer these kinds of things, and whatever it is that is there for us. And then come my pets, because we have some pets that are adorable. Cosmo, which is our Australian Shepherd, and Lenny Boy, who's our African Gray Parrot, who both love us and so deeply. You can feel their love. And of course, after that come my plants, or not my plants, but the plants that adorn our yard. And we have a very large yard that goes all the way around the house, and it's very lovely, and totally enjoy doing that as well. Okay, all that being said, what is your hierarchy of what is most important to you? And when you literally define that first one, the first three, if you want to say it that way, then you're going to really begin to see the theme that is there. You want to make well cared for, taken care of, problems are solved, or whatever it might be. That's for me. What is it for you? I think it's Argel or Argel. I think it's Argel, because I do agree being spiritual is very important, but sometimes it becomes difficult when there's little time trying to pay the bills. Now, let's remember something. You are already spiritual. You don't become spiritual, or you don't uh, work at being spiritual. You are already spiritual. Now, it's just a matter of just putting into practice, being aware of that spiritual you, because you're more spiritual than you are physically. And so, this. You can't see, hear, taste, touch, or smell the emotional and all the aspects, intellectual part of you, and at the spirit, mind, body, emotion. You can your energy that sees such as nature. So you are more spiritual. Are a spiritual being having a human experience. So when you say this, I do agree, but being spiritual is very important, but you're not agreeing. All right, let's be clear about that. Anytime you say but, is that you're not agreeing to it fully and completely, or there's a little piece of information missing there. It becomes difficult when there's little time and you're worried, uh, trying to pay the bills. Well, why would that take away from your being spiritual? That's when you focus more on that spiritual aspect of you. When there's time, little, or you have a feeling, a perception of little time, it's a perception. Time just is. That there's 24 hours a day. So what? There's another 24 that we add on tomorrow, the day after that. Time is ongoing. We put measure to time. So you can continue going on and doing things that you need to do. That it's going to get done when you prioritize and you place your focus in the right areas where you need to place them. When it comes to paying the bills, so what? You just pay the bills. You make a plan. You work at how you're going to make that possible. If you're short on monies for that month, you're going to make arrangements with the people you owe money to, and they'll be happy to work with you. And then you look at ways maybe to work an extra hour or add more by doing certain things, spending less, or whatever it is. Okay, I'm recording the New Mind for Prosperity course, and hopefully it'll be out by the end of August. Okay, and basically we address these kinds of things. It's like we got to reframe a few things in our own perceptions about our living experience, and be a little bit more understanding and a little easier on ourselves, be a little more gentle with ourselves, and not be too hurried up. If you're always worried, you don't trust. That means that you don't have your focus clear. That means that you don't have that vision of you being bigger and better, more, greater, happier, more fulfilled. The life is flowing smoothly. That vision has always got to be there, because that vision of your future is going to impact your present, and it's going to help you to achieve that you in the future. That means that you're not going into that you already achieved, that's free of worry, and life is in flow. So there's a lot of things that you're telling me, by just simply saying, but sometimes it becomes difficult when there's little time and you're worried about trying to pay the bills. And you don't try. You either pay them or you don't pay them. So don't try. Try means you do nothing about it, or you're doing nothing much about it. So I know I'm scolding you here, but I just want you to take a look at this, to talk, as things. It says, yes, somehow I always felt very familiar with you and your dad, even though we never met. When you were coming back to Miami. Okay. All right. Well, good. I'm glad that you felt close to us, and I look forward to maybe one day connecting that way. Okay. So going back to what we're talking about here, we just need to make sure that we're very clear, that we reframe some of how we live our lives, that we're very clear about the things that we want to achieve, and that we stay put and we stay focused on the journey itself of achieving what we want to achieve, not to get too sidetracked on things that come our way in life. We're always going to have things that come up and pop up in our lives that are going to maybe try to deter us a little bit, or take our focus away from what really is important to us. And that's fine. Pay attention to them, deal with them, take care of them, and make sure that you strengthen or re-energize that focus of you having it all. Free of worry, life in flow, having abundance, having health, love, happiness, everything, because you deserve to have it all. Now, this hierarchy we're talking about is just one part of what we're wanting to achieve as far as upgrading your life with 3 different things. Once you find your life purpose, and that's really important, and that's how it started because of a question you asked in part. I think it was your our head. Basically, it's about finding your life purpose. Yes, I think this is a really good way of doing it. If you're still struggling with what's my life purpose, then you really need to start looking at what is really important to you, what's most valuable to you, and how do you make that achievable? How do you achieve that? All right. When you have your life purpose, the most important thing to you will help you to define that. Then you have your second most important, and then you have your third most important. You will see that theme that is there. And then the next question to ask yourself is, how do I live that purpose in what I do? Not have to how do you say express your life purpose. Your life purpose can be expressed in any job you do. Now, when my husband and I did this exercise together, and we decided, yes, you're right, because he's a very spiritual person. He's a lot more religious than I am, and more ritualistic in that way. He abides more by his religion than I do, although I love my religion, and I love going to church, and I enjoy the energy in the building. And I totally enjoy being Christian and Catholic. I totally enjoy the teachings of Jesus himself. I always kind of do question the interpreter's version of what he says, which is usually the people who are in front of the church or at the altar expressing what they feel and what they opine, what's their opinion about, and how they interpret what he said. That I'll question at all times. But I really do enjoy the ambiance, the energy, the smell, being there with other members of the church and all that stuff. But as far as the whole ritual of church is concerned, I'm not the biggest, most ritualistic person in the world, but my husband's a lot more ritualistic than I am, and or more ritual oriented, and more bites more by the church rules than I do. And I'm I should say, a lot more flexible about that. But nevertheless, of course, for him too, that universal source energy, but of course he'll say God definitely is most important to him as well, because he gives gratitude, and I do too, to God for having everything that we have. In loan, we always think, because to enjoy in this lifetime, but we're very grateful that we have what we have. We have health, we have abundance, we have a lot of happiness, and above all, we have a lot of love. And for me, that's the most important, having that love between us. So that being said, he and I share a lot of the same kind of values, and we have we value that relationship that we have with God highly, more than anything else. And the way he expresses it is he too is he's very good to people. He's very caring. He's a very generous man. He's always helping his employees, and he's in the transportation business. He has a freight company, both here and also in Mexico, logistics companies, and he's got properties and things like that. But he how he expresses that um, that he values so much is in, of course, in making sure that his employees and his children's employees are always doing good, making sure that the service he provides to his clients is top-notch service, and that the products that he moves arrive on a timely manner and in a good state, in the ideal state. And he's always looking to become better at what he provides in the work that he does. And he's got an ongoing belief that says, God gives me so much because I help so many. And it's a great belief to have, if you ask me. And it's true. I mean, the more he seems to get his way, the more he's out to help people, and the more capable he is to help people. So going back to what is the number one value you may have can be really important, because it helps you to realize, well, gee, then this is tied into other values in my life, how I define myself, and the values that define you really go side by side. They're connected to your purpose in life. You if you're looking at it clearly, you'll see there's your purpose. I mean, without a doubt, you'll see your purpose right there. And then how you express that, your purpose, in whatever job you have, whatever you're doing, you know, uh, is up to you. I mean, you can be creative about that. I do it in my seminars. He does it in the work that he does, in transportation. Now, that's not a very creative job. Transportation is one of those doggy dog kind of job situations. And you're always having to like really make sure you keep your accounts, and you're doing the best of it that you can, whatever. But even then, he found a way to creatively express his purpose in helping people, serving humanity, basically providing a good service and doing good, solving problems in the work that he does. So again, just to let you know that your purpose does not your purpose can be so implemented in any job that you have. Okay. All right. So let me see. Yeah, and it says, thanks for your honest opinion. I need to be more focused and plan things better. Yeah. Okay, good. All right. Now, because I know our time is moving fast, it always does. I miss being with you guys. I really was hoping to do this webinar a little bit sooner. I didn't get around to it only because a lot of things happen. Life happens. We my one of my daughters that I think I've talked to her about her before. Her name is Ileana Gomez. She's a flamenco dancer. She dances impeccably, beautifully, amazingly well, and she tours the world dancing. And right now she's in Spain. But before she moved to Spain, I was, they say at the beginning of the month, I was in Barcelona, and we had meant to do this webinar like mid-month, and like we usually do it like mid-month. And I said, I come back on the 5th, and right before I left for Barcelona, my daughter says, oh mom, by the way, um, Alejandro, who's her longtime partner, and also he's an amazing flamenco guitarist, and he is superb. She says, we decided to get married. And I thought, oh, great. Well, congratulations. I was all happy. I said, when? And I asked her when. And she said, well, before we go to Spain, they usually go to Spain around 3 months, to live and perfect their talents. And that's where they connect with really top-notch dancers at their level. And I said, well, wonderful. Well, when are you going to Spain? And she goes, oh, around maybe the 20th. I said, what? Of what month? And she was July. I said, July? I said, I don't get back until the 5th. I said, when do you plan to get married? He goes, well, we kind of set on our schedule for the 14th. The 14th. I said, you're giving me 9 days to plan a whole wedding. So, but of course, mama did. And so during that time, I was working on the wedding and getting things together. And it was like, it's a little bit, lots of fun and lots of things to do. And it all got done. It was really wonderful. So I wasn't able to sooner than that. But I missed you guys. I really did miss you. I always have a lot of fun, interacting with you and reading your questions and your commentaries. And, it's always a lot of fun. So now we're talking about what is life purpose and how to define that. And the other thing, and this is going to be kind of short and sweet, that really is important for us to do is to decide to very consciously do the following. Learn more about the skills that you already have. More specifically, learn more and become better at what it is you do that helps you to earn a living. Okay. So for me, it's doing seminars. And I'm always looking for ways to getting more information. What's the latest research? I take seminars. I go to programs. I sometimes speaking programs. Better, how to actively get excited and very passionate, and then I'm all over the map and how to stay more focused when I'm delivering my content. And so I'm always looking, how do I better my skill as a professional trainer, as a speaker, to be able to expand or broaden my appeal. Do Silva seminars, which or seminars in this area, but also I get called on now more and more for speaking at conventions, to be keynote speakers, to participate in television programs, or to do webinars. And so I then keep broadening my capabilities and my skill set in order to be able to do a lot more things and not just present seminars. So doing online trainings, webinars, teleconferences, all these things I didn't know how to do just a few years back. So it takes a little bit of effort. It takes a little bit of courage. It takes a lot of studying, a lot of role playing, a lot of practice to get that done. And that in turn has, of course, from an earning perspective, has brought me a lot more finances because I have broadened my appeal because I have bettered or upgraded my skill set and my capabilities. Now that's one of the things that's going to be really important for you to upgrade all areas of your life is be better at what you do because then you have a fighting chance. You are ahead of the rest. You have like you have an edge over the others. You know, you're more professional and you want to always be really professional, top notch, and be able to do what you do proud of the work that you're doing, that you would sign your name off on it. I remember when I was a young girl, maybe a teenager, I don't know. I remember it so well that people were doing something, whether it was maybe making a nice piece of furniture or painting on a billboard, you know, creating a billboard or made, you know, they keep things to some of the flower because they were so proud of the work arrangement. And I always they would see and to say like, gee, I too need to do the work that I do in a way where I can sign off on it and say, ah, good job, well done, you know. And it's not the end. It always gets better and better and better through time. And when we get to that point, you really are the person people look for people look for people or to do things job do things in a mediocre way. I always like doing it in a very special way, you know, give more than I need to, do it to the best of my ability, be there for people even if I don't have to, and just give. And I always find for me that always works the best. So you know, make sure that you keep learning more about your skill or skills and your capabilities and always improve on them because as you do, they're going to have a great return. Now, you know, we talk about the actualization process and what it takes for you to become actualized. One of those primary things is that you need to make sure your thoughts and beliefs are in check because that's going to really connect you directions, break open doors, break through limitations, to open doors of opportunity. But once you got that going, you need to solve all the problems that you have in your environment. And you know, going back to what we were talking about, Arhel and Ed, is yes, you know, that means making sure that finances are in order, that your bills are being paid, that you know everything is in check, and that you're taking care of business basically, and all the different things that are required of you, whether it's, you know, changing the tire, painting the walls, fixing a broken piece of furniture, you know, making sure the appliances are working, putting food on the table, paying all your bills, making sure the kids are fine, that your spouse, you know, husband, wives are okay, all that kind of stuff. Because once you free the energy from that, then you're more free to work on the next level of you, and that's your behaviors. And your behaviors need to be top notch. The behaviors need to support you in every way. So that means you need to like watch what you're eating, watch what you're drinking, you make sure that you're sleeping enough hours, that you're kind to people, that you're always conscious of your spirituality and who you are, that you see yourself and others, that others are your family, that you treat them with that kind of respect, that you're always looking to solve problems, that you're doing all the right things for all the right reasons. You know, and when your behaviors are working for you, your environment continues to get better, you know, that you honor, love, and respect, you know, those surround you. And then once your environment and behaviors are in flow, then it frees up so much energy for you to move to the next level. And that's your capabilities and your skill sets. So, you know, really it's going to make a huge difference for you if you do work on your skills and capabilities, improve them on them through time. Okay. So let's make sure that we do that and that we make sure that we practice that from now on forward. It's going to make a big difference in your life. The next thing is that you're going to learn more about what you're passionate about. So, what are you passionate about? Okay, so that is what we've been talking about in part because it's really going to make a big difference for you to find what you're passionate about and learn more about that. So I love to do things besides talking and writing, doing seminars and writing because I love to write as well. I love to garden. I love to cook. And, you know, I just, you know, like to do crafty things. Like just yesterday, I volunteered for the Laredo Little Theater and they're going to do a show called Mulan, and so I was helping with the costumes. So I had all kinds of things to do for props and costumes yesterday, and of course my cousin Sandra, who some of you already know. And you've kind of interacted with her. She's very, very crafty. So between Sandra and myself, we were able to fix costumes, make, amend them, create them, props and all kinds of stuff. And I totally, totally get into that. I really enjoy being creative in that way. But for me, I think anytime you use your creativity, it's very enjoyable. So I would learn more about being more crafty, about maybe the theater. And of course, I'm always looking to be a better cook and also looking forward to um, enhancing the garden as well. So always looking for things in the garden. So I always like to read more about how to do those things because I like them. I like them a lot. I feel energized when I'm doing these creative things. So the second thing to do then is to look at what you're passionate about. And what you're passionate about may just be the things that will also bring in income. I think about one of the directors of Silva in Cyprus, and he once, being that in Cyprus and Greece, they're having a lot of financial difficulties per se. He said that when he was a young person, his parents and mostly his father insisted that he became a professional such as a businessman, a lawyer, an accountant, a doctor, something like that, because that's where the money was. He said, well, now with the financial struggles that we're having in Greece and in Cyprus, he said, children back then would say, "But gee, but mom, dad, I want to be a musician." And said, "No, no, no, no. There's no room for you being a musician. No, no, you got to be a doctor, a lawyer, an Indian chief." And so they were forced to go to school and become that type of professional. He said, "What's good? Fine, And he's the businessman. He's in business and in that kind of thing, and very he graduated from Cambridge, very very scholarly and very highly educated. But children again would say, "No, but I want to be a chef. No, forget about being a chef. No, but I want to dance. No, forget about dancing." And now he says, now parents, because the jobs aren't all there for a lot of us professionals. Now they say, "Well, remember how you always love to cook? Why don't you go out and start cooking to cater? That'll bring in some money." Or, "Remember how you always liked your music? Why don't you, give your services as a musician to play at, maybe parties or at clubs or whatever, because they'll bring in some monies because people always go to clubs." And so I always thought it was kind of interesting how he was very, notice the fact that it was the passions that people had in the things that they did, whether it was gardening or cooking or dating or music, that those usually artistic in nature, that those passions were the things that were bringing in the income, no longer what they went to school for to study. So you never know, right? If you're doing something really good, you're having a lot of fun at it, the money will follow. It's a book that talks about that. So I would always say one is to continue to develop your skill and capabilities in the area of your expertise. Be the best you can be. Two is learn more about what you're passionate about, what you love to do, and do it really, really well, because that can always be another source of income for you. And it will bring great joy to your life and living experience because you're doing what is your most fun, most energizing, most thing that makes you feel the happiest. And the third thing is to learn a new skill that you haven't done, before. So learn a new skill. And that's always going to be really important that we learn a new skill, something that can add to your toolbox of skills and capabilities. So some of the things that I can learn to do and I'm getting better at are things like webinars, online trainings, and programs to be a little bit more marketing. Although my partner Irina helps me to achieve a lot of that because she's really good at this. It's always really good to know that you have that skill set as well. So how to do copy, how to write emails, how to write content, how to do articles. That's tied in part with what I already enjoy doing, but it's also learning a new skill, a new way, how to work with computer software or programs that don't intimidate me and that I feel comfortable doing. That also for me is very important. So all the things I have to do around that is kind of new for me. I've always had somebody else do it, but I really would much rather learn how to do it myself to have a greater greater impact is to learn a new skill and start now to do a better job at that. So, oh, it's really important for you. We kind of already talked about life purpose, or what your life purpose is now and the end of the year. I really want to hear from you as to how you have improved your skills and capabilities in the area of your expertise, things that bring in money for you, to what you're doing to learn more about what you're passionate about and do it even better, and also what new skill you are bringing into your life and lived experience. If you do those three things, I can assure you that you will upgrade your life in every respect, and you will increase your earning power without a doubt. Okay, so I hope this workshop helped. I hope really working on your hierarchy of what's valuable to you in life and what means most, what matters most to you, will also be helpful. And once again, I do apologize for the mistake I made. I take full responsibility. I do apologize for the error I made as far as the time was concerned. I promise it will not happen again. Okay. All right, guys. If you have any questions, let me just check one more time. If you have anything you want to ask me or comment about, and take it from there. All right, great. I think we're good. And I will send you what is most important to me. Ah, let me see. There. Oh, and you'll notice that right now, that when you see my hierarchy of what I value most, you'll see that material things aren't there. I mean, we've got the big house, we've got the nice cars, we have a lot of abundance, all that kind of stuff, but none of that is there because those are rewards. When you are true to your primary things that are most important to you in life, when you're true, especially to the number one, and you do it really, really well, then the rewards are going to come in the form of wealth and a great abundance. And so you wouldn't even have to worry about that. So I would always recommend you focus on doing what you do to the best of your ability, and you will be rewarded for that. Right? Okay, guys, I think our time is up. It was probably up about an hour ago. So anyways, again, thank you for being so patient and so understanding. I love you guys, and we'll let you know when the next free webinar is coming. And be on the lookout for weight management for maximum health. I think it's what it's called. And it's a great program, and it's got a lot of content information that I have used throughout my life to not only regain my ideal weight and size, but to keep it already for well over 30 years. All right. So love you guys. Talk to you soon, and keep in touch. All right.